right. Good evening, everybody. Today is April 21st, 2022, and we're here with Mr. Chris Hauser of the Family House.
Yeah, the Family House.
And we are going to discuss some things today. I put the word out to the group like this morning or yesterday, I forget. I didn't follow up, so we have a really low turnout tonight. So it could be that we just might get to all the Q&As tonight. So,
well, fantastic.
So if you have any questions, you guys hit *6, and then I think 1 to raise your hand, which nobody's done yet. So, Chris, you got any lessons or updates or anything you want to share with us?
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff done today. I also got hacked, and again, my Gmail account got hacked. I opened up a Proton Mail account a couple of days ago, and it is capital C as in Charlie, capital A as in Alpha, capital H as in Hotel, AUSER, all in lowercase. 3 capital letters and the rest of my family name in lowercase at protonmail.com. I'm paying dearly for it because I wanted security. I wanted better than the free Proton Mail. I don't want to get hacked again. I lose too much valuable information that a lot of y'all are sharing with me. I do spend a lot of time looking at the stuff that people send me in email, and links to documents and links to videos, and a lot of them have some really good information in them, and I'm proud to have fellow warriors send me stuff like this, and I hate to lose it for some scumbag. Also, I'm going to I think I'm going to go over the I don't think I'm going to do the 1099As again, because people should have that down by now. But I think what I'm going to do is get into greater detail with the OID, the 96, the 40B, and even the 8888, and explain in greater detail how you need to do these things and the ins and outs of them. I'll probably maybe break it down into a couple of videos. I think doing it all in one video is going to make a long video, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I may even do them one document at a time and make them shorter that way. That way, if you understand the OID fairly well, or the 96 and need help with something else, you'll be able to do that. And then I'm going to get into quite a bit more detail of definitions of certain words. I'd actually like to do a seminar, video series seminar of words that are pertinent to what it is we're doing, and their meanings. And I think that'll help clear up a lot more stuff that people are already getting. But if you know it in greater detail, if you know what these words mean in greater detail, you'll be able to explain them better, I think. So I'm probably going to do that after I do the let's say the trustee aspect of dealing with the 1099A. because, like I said, a lot of people really get the A. They really do. They're just slightly confused. And some of that has to do with me, because when I showed my OIDs in '96, they're older, and they were set up a little differently. We're also going to do a Zoom meeting, a round table, so to speak, where this is probably going to be about 3 weeks, where we're going to do the letter of credit. And if you're interested in that, as soon as we're able to finish this Zoom conference, Tad is going to have it on his website, youhavetheright.com. That way you'll be able to go and learn about the letter of credit. The reason I want to do it like this is because if I do a video on YouTube, it's going to be me talking about the letter of credit. If I do a Zoom conference, roundtable kind of thing, with about a half a dozen of the people that really get this, and those in different areas. Like, I'd like to have one guy that's doing a $100,000 bond on there, and one guy that's doing the conditional acceptance and the contract to the Treasury. You know what I mean? And people doing different things with it. Because there's going to be questions if we do it like this. There's going to be questions that we're going to be able to discuss. And I think that it's more practical to do it like that and then have this Zoom, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a Zoom. We can do it on a talk show kind of thing. But anyway, it'll be a recording that you'll be able to go on to youhavetheright.com, and you'll get that information. And I think that that doing it that way, there'll be quite a bit more clarity in the format of how this thing is laid out. I think that's the best way to do it. And I also think that Tad's website is pretty thorough with all the different topics broken down, all these recordings broken down into different topics. I think that it's an excellent place to go if you want to specifically look up different topics about what is being handed out and handed down. I think this is the best place so far to get it at. So that's why I wanted to do it like that. There's also some other things into the mix that we've talked about just recently. One is the General Assemblies. I've done a lot of investigating into the General Assemblies and what's going on. And these General Assemblies are creating constitutional grand juries. And that I think is essential in regaining our republic. So we've talked about that, and I've talked to quite a few other members in different states. We've talked about that. And we're also bouncing an idea around of how to attach the beneficiary account to the Social Security account, to where you be able to use you'll be able to use your beneficiary account, and it'll actually be accessing your trust. We haven't really even got close to getting all the nicks broke down with it, and it may be quite some time before that happens, but I think it's really feasible. One thing that we discussed, and you can stop me, Tad, if I've thought a little bit more into it, and if the postal money order is backed by gold, well, if you took a $500 money order and deposited into your beneficiary account, right? Well, $500 in gold would be 25 $20 gold pieces. So I got on the internet and I looked that up, and a $20 gold piece is going for around $2,200.
Right.
So if you do the math, if we're doing like I'm thinking, or I'm on the lines of, well then, if you put a $500 money order into your beneficiary account, you would really have $55,000 worth of FRN. Okay, I got that from. I started thinking about that. I don't know if it was late last night or sometime today. That was an idea that Tad put in my head when we were discussing a previous thing that had to do with a minted coin. So I'm thinking that's what that is. That we could actually do that. I'm not quite sure how to fine-tune this, but we're working on it. It's another facet. This whole thing has been, or for me, it's been like a diamond in the rough. And every time it seems like we turn around, we're cutting another facet into this diamond. And if this goes down like it could feasibly go down, I was talking to a friend that's in prison, and if this goes down like I think that it could, the prison system's in big trouble, because there's not a single guard, once they learn how to do this, there's not a single guard that's going to want to risk their life guarding some inmates. There's not going to be anybody to fill those slots. And by doing so, a lot of the nonviolent offenders will have to be released. And then they'll have to consolidate all the violent offenders into 1 or 2 prisons instead of 12 prisons throughout the state. So this could actually change a lot of things. And we're working on that. Me and Tad and another individual. So if it goes down like that, I was reading some of the literature that was shared, and the CPA handbook that's 1,500 pages.
Wow.
I was looking through that. It's 1,500 pages.
Wow.
I was looking through that, and it is incredibly dry, unless you like numbers. But it's the handbook that you would study to pass the CPA exam. So I know that there's some stuff in there that's going to open up quite a few doors, and I do intend to spend a little time looking through that particular document that was sent. I got it in my library on my phone now. It takes up a lot of space. 1,500 pages takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
But I've read books that thick. I don't intend to read the whole book because I'm not about to be a CPA. But I know how to wade through the cesspool to find the valuable little nuggets that fall. So I'm probably going to find some stuff when I can get into that. But, yeah, the other document, I started reading on it late last night. And, yeah, there's some information in there that just the definitions and the way that they're easily explained by a sentence or two can really be broken down and actually be taught in more detail. So once I finish that document or that book, I'm going to probably work with something there. But other than that, that's what's going on this week. A lot of piddling around, trying to get a few things done. So, but yeah, life is good. Do you have anything, Dad?
Well, that's what Hickok 45 always says when he ends his videos. Life is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is real good. And it's getting better for those that are out there, swamped with their issues. It's getting better. I get a lot more positive things now. Hey, Chris, thanks a lot, man. Look at this thing here. One of the guys sent me a picture of his Capital One account, where it had his name in upper and lowercase, and then at the end of his family name it said, beneficiary. Yeah. He said, what does this mean? I said, well, it means they've recognized you as the beneficiary. Have fun with Capital One. That's happening. All kinds of stuff like that is happening. It's crazy how this has taken off, and it's shot off into so many different directions. I get dizzy spinning in circles, looking in the different directions that this stuff has gone into. I mean, could you imagine that? You've got Capital One, one of the biggest credit card companies out there, saying, I recognize you, not as the all-caps trust name, but actually as the beneficiary of this account. Man, that speaks volumes. And a lot of folks are having success opening up their beneficiary accounts. I think that banks might be on to, banks might even be being informed by the higher up that, hey, if someone comes in and wants to open a beneficiary account, open it for them. I think they've figured out what it is that we're doing, and they want to get in on it. But other than that, I got a whole lot more to say, except for what's coming up. Had a good live last Tuesday night. Monday night was with the CH group. And we talked about, it started out as a meet and greet with some other, so to speak, guru types. And there was only two or three of them, or three of them, I think, that were on there. And they started talking their, thing, putting their thing out, and they couldn't get along. So, I mean, if you've got three guys that are invited onto a Zoom conference, and they all think that they've got the right answers, before you know it, there's quite a bit of, well, that's a lie. And the next thing you know, there's an argument going on. It's like they can't get over that 5%, and they feel like they got to be right. This is going to be very difficult to try and get these gurus to come together, at a convention, because so many of them are going to be arguing. I don't know how that's going to go. That's kicked way down the road, as far as I'm concerned. there's going to have to be some unity between all of us before we can even consider doing a weekend convention seminar kind of thing. But that's okay. We'll do what we're doing here. But do you have anything, Tad, that you want to add to tonight's conversation?
Pardon me. I'm still reading that first book. So most of it's like definitions, which you talked about dry, and that's pretty dry.
Yeah.
But I'm getting closer to the end of it, so we'll see. By next week, I should have a pretty good grasp of it and figure out what it all means.
Yeah, we'll have to sort through that. I think we're headed in the right direction with that, though. We get enough big brains on this, and I think that what we're going to have to do is actually create a contract with Janet Yellen, and with her recognizing that she's the trustee solely by the contract to my own trust, and that it needs to be connected with the beneficiary account. I just got to come up with the language for the contract, I think.
Okay.
And we'll have something that we could, template out and send to everybody and explain to them, break it down. Here's how we do it, guys. I think we can do that, and I wouldn't care to be the first one to do it. I am all about being out there to plug this stuff up. And if it works for me, see, I've had a beneficiary account for it's going on 6 years now. Actually, it is 6 years by now. I've had it that long. And I think that I just got to figure out the verbiage for the contract to do that. I don't think it's necessary to do a 56. I still don't think that's necessary. I think she knows that she is the trustee. It's just getting her to contractually agree to specifically be a trustee for each and every individual trust, because the Social Security account is actually 2 trust funds, and individually our accounts go into they're kind of like subsidiaries of that giant trust. It's just a matter of figuring out the verbiage for the contract. But I wouldn't care to be the first one to do it. And then as soon as we've got that contract down, we can start sharing it with everybody.
Now, what was that? You said you don't care to be the first one to do it, or you do?
Yeah. In the South, when you say you don't care, it's like I agree to.
Oh, okay.
I had to get used to that what do you mean you don't care? Hey, man, do you want to come out? You want to come out and go shooting at the range with me? Well, I don't care to go shooting at the range. It sounds like you're saying you don't want to, but really it's like, I don't care. That sounds like a good idea. Is actually what it means. Well, let me put it this way for everybody across the country. I will be the first one.
Okay.
I will always be the first one to try out new things that I've, basically created. But it's like you said, I would, even if I could get by with something like that, it's still because of people like you, Ted, and people like other people that I've been in contact. You stick a bug in this ear, someone sticks a bug in the other, and together all of us are working up something that's doable. I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good for a lot of people. And I think the government knows that we're doing this. I still get messages all the time. IRS says they're out of 1099-A. Or I just got a packet in the mail today. It's got some of the documents, but it doesn't have the 1099-A. So it's almost like there's some people are still having a hard time getting them, but others aren't. I've had 3 people just this last week say, "I've got some extras. Would you like them?" Okay, here's in case you didn't get my address off the video, here it is right here. Yeah, send it on and I'll share them. So, but if you want to, if you don't have anything else to say and you want to do some Q&A,
I do.
I'm down with that.
All right, we're going to start with area code 313. Go ahead.
Oops, sorry. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
This is Asima. I am very new to this. Alicia introduced me to you. And I have 2 questions, actually. The first one is because I am a naturalized citizen, not a born citizen in the U.S. of A. I don't have an American birth certificate. So I wanted to know how that would work for me. The second question is probably easier. I've lived here my whole life, by the way, so 40-plus years, and I pay taxes. So I wanted to know what form it was that I have to fill out in order so that I don't have to pay taxes anymore.
Okay. For your first question, you don't have a birth certificate.
I have one. It's not an American one.
Yeah, okay. Well, you don't have a birth certificate from one of the 50 states.
Correct. I can't be like Barack Obama from Hawaii.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got you. But you do have a Social Security card, right?
Yep, I've got that.
Okay.
I've got my
naturalization
certificate.
You are a beneficiary of a trust, a multi-million-dollar trust. You don't have to have a birth certificate to be the beneficiary of a trust. They do it all the time. They're giving Social Security cards to the illegals that are coming across the border. Think about that. If 2 million illegals cross the border and they give 2 million Social Security accounts that each have $1 million in it, how much money did they just create? 2 million times $1 million is a lot of money.
Trillions, yeah.
A crazy lot of money. That's why they don't have a problem with doing that. Bring as many in as you want. We'll just create trusts, and then we'll have more money. And like there's 6,000 babies born every day. That's 6,000 trusts that are created on average, each with $1 million in it, or 950,000, whatever the case may be. That's where you're at with that. And the other question was about the taxes. Yep. What do I fill out to not pay taxes? Well, there's a lot of things you can fill out. I'm sure there's some kind of affidavits you can fill out and do that whole process or whatever. But if you're talking about income taxes, you file a W-8-BEN. You are a foreign employee. By being a foreign, and you're foreign to the corporation. The only people that can't file the W-8-BEN are people that actually work for the corporation. If you are Capitol Police you are a United States citizen just because you are an employee of the United States. If you're working in the forestry, United States Forestry Service, you are an employee of the United States. If you're working at McDonald's, you're not an employee of the United States. But you're going to check on the application that you are a United States citizen, which makes you an employee of the foreign corporation known as the United States. That's how you can file the W-8 as a foreign employee. I don't work for the United States government. I don't work for that corporate government. I work, as a private contractor, or I work as an employee of Widgets Inc. We make all kinds of widgets. That's where you would stop being or paying the taxes on your income. You got to remember, folks, the taxes are voluntary. They're all voluntary. There's been 6 commissioners of the IRS flat out say, some have actually done it in Congress, in front of these congressional boards. They've actually came out and said, if it wasn't for the fact that taxes are voluntary, this tax system would not work. So they say it's voluntary. There's 6 commissioners that have said that on the record. So you do not have to pay income taxes. Besides, income taxes isn't wages. By definition, income is not a wage. And then there's the sales tax. Most Secretary of State's offices have exemptions, state tax exemption forms that you can fill out. Since we've started doing this kind of thing and sharing this information, they're hiding it. Texas isn't. You can go in Texas Secretary of the State's website, and they have it. Individual tax exemption, or sales tax exemption. Some states they call it entity tax exemption. Okay, so there's 2. There's the income tax, and then there's the state tax. And then there's the property tax or wheel tax or cigarette tax or gas tax. And you're not going to be able to, if you drink or smoke or drive a car, you're not going to get away from paying those taxes because they're actually included into the price. They're not separate. You buy a pack of cigarettes for $6, that's exactly what you're paying for it. There isn't a sales tax on cigarettes or gas or liquor. It's added into it, so you're not going to get away with that. But it's still voluntary.
Wow.
If you can't be forced to pay gas taxes if you're not buying gas, if you're not buying alcohol, if you're not buying cigarettes. See, so it is even those taxes are voluntary. And then there's the property taxes and the registration tax. You don't want to pay registration tax? Don't register your car. You don't want to pay sales or property tax? Don't register your deed. That's where people get jammed up because you're not really paying tax. You're paying rent. When you get your tax bill every January, that has to be paid by the end of February 28th, or there's penalties. That's not a tax. That's actually rent. Because when you registered it, you gave it to them. So now you're basically paying rent to stay in your house.
Wow. Okay.
That's how you get out of those. That's how you get out of those taxes. If you know taxes are, hey, it's like this. If you go to church and you put $20 in the plate, and the preacher knows, and a lot of churches are like this because they want to see your tax. I know churches that ask you for your tax returns, so they can make sure they hassle you into giving your 10%. Yeah, I've been to churches that's been that way.
Wow.
If you want to be a member of our church, you have to share your tax information. I told my dad, I said, that's a big mistake right there. You tell these people how much money you got, they're going to hassle you. And they give you your own envelopes. I went to a church that gave you your own envelopes. They actually printed envelopes that had your names on them so that they could keep track. They say it was for your tax deduction, but really they're sweating you for that money. But think about that. If you went to one of the churches down here where I live, and you put $20 in there, and you know your boss was one of the deacons at the church, he would roll up on you and say, you know, I noticed you only put $20 in. That's only $80 a month you're putting in. You know, and I pay you way more than that. You need to pay. You know, I did the math, what I'm paying you every month, you know, and you need to be putting at least $45 in the collection plate. That wouldn't be a gift then, would it? No. It wouldn't be voluntary. And that's how the government sees it. When you file your 1040, they're looking at it as if it's either a gift tax or it's a inheritance tax. And so when you send that check in every year, here's my tax return. You know, I paid you all this money this year, but I still owe you $800. Here's $800. They're going to look at that and they're going to go, oh, well, this is a good United States citizen. You know, he sent us in all this money through the year, and now he's giving us an extra $800 gift. This is a real patriot right here. That's the way they see that. And you don't have to do that. You do not have to pay taxes at all. There's ways
so you don't even have to file
1040. Pardon me?
So we don't even have to file 1040s every year.
No. If you work for a company, say you work for 3M, and you go into the HR with the W-8, B-E-N, and say, look, all these years I filed W-2, I realized that that's for United States citizens. And I'm a United States citizen is an employee of the United States Corporation. And I'm not, as far as I know, 3M is not a United States company. It's not a part of the corporation known as the United States. Therefore, I am foreign. I'm not an employee of the United States, Inc. Therefore, I am a foreigner. And so fraud has been committed because there wasn't full disclosure. When you convinced me to file the W-2, when I came down here and you all said, here, file this W-2, you didn't have a W-8. You didn't say, you know, you can file a W-2 or you can file a W-4 or an I-9, or you can even do this W-8. You didn't tell me that, so there wasn't full disclosure. The W-2 is void. Therefore, I need you to file this W-8. And if they refuse to do that, you need to tell them, look, it's a crime not to file filing when an employee asks the employer to file it. It's a felony. If I came in here and said, I want to file a W-2, you would file it, wouldn't you, HR? Why? Because I asked you to do it. I asked you to do this. And it's your job to do it. The same thing with the WA. I'm not asking you whether or not to determine whether this is the right thing or the lawful thing to do. You just file it. You let them deal with it. And then you stop withholding. And as long as you work for 3M, you do not have to file another tax document the rest of the time you're working for them. They're going to withhold Social Security tax, and they're going to withhold unemployment tax and workman's comp. They're going to withhold that stuff. But what they're not going to withhold is the FICA taxes. And they're not supposed to. And I would suggest anybody that files an income tax return has money taken from their checks every week, and then files an income tax return and still has to pay more money, I would suggest that you file a WA because you're giving your money away like crazy. If you're making if you're bringing home $1,000 a month or $1,000 a week, and you're paying $250 out in taxes, wouldn't you rather bring home $1,250 and not pay $800 at the end of the year? Well, of course you would. That's more money for your family. And y'all know with the inflation and the gas and shit like that, we could use the $250 extra every week. I would suggest doing that. If you're self-employed and you normally file a 1099, stop and file a W-8, and it'll tell you in the directions, I'm pretty sure, where to send that document. And you can send it to the IRS, and the IRS, you just stop filing. Once you send that to them, you stop filing. You don't send them any more money, and you don't have to. So that's what I would suggest anyone to do. Unless you're working at McDonald's and you got 3 kids and you're getting the earned income credit and all that other stuff. It's more beneficial to go ahead and do the W-2. If they're going to take very little of your money because you got 3 kids and you're not making much over minimum wage, it makes more sense to do the W-2 because you're going to get thousands of dollars in earned income credit. And you're going to get back most of the money you spent. It might cost you $300 in a year, but you're going to get a check for $4,000 or $5,000. That makes up for the $300 you lost. So if you're making good money, if you're making over $50,000 a year, I would suggest filing WA, and don't let them hoodoo you around when you go to file it. Say, look, you're not supposed to decide whether or not this is legit or whether or not I can do it. Your job is to file it. And most of them, once you get on them like that, they'll do it. Then once they realize what their obligation is to file the W-8-BEN-E, they stop matching the taxes. Oh, now all of a sudden it's happening. Yeah, it saves them money.
All right, so does that answer your question?
That one does. I have one more. Student loans. Okay. Can I use a 1099A to pay off my student loan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take the template, the remittance letter template, and modify it for the student loan. You could do the coupon and a 1099A. Call the company. Call the loan company that's got your student loan and say, look, I need a statement with the detachable coupon. I am going to settle this debt, like within the next 30 days. Could you send me that? If they're not already sending you one.
They haven't sent me one. They've taken my taxes, but they haven't sent me anything.
Yeah, they take it from your taxes. You do is you call them and say, look, I'm tired of y'all taking my money. I am ready to settle this account, settle this debt. I need a statement from you with the coupon, and I need that for my records. And I will send you payment for every dollar that's owed. I intend to settle this account. They will make a statement up for you and send it to you. Because they're thinking, oh, dang, she must have came into some money. We're about to get, and then they are going to get paid. Yeah, you can use the 1099A to do the student loans. And think about this: if they don't accept that payment, you don't owe them. You don't owe them. And if they try to take money from your taxes after that, they're not going to be. If you haven't paid your student loans and they're taking it out in your income taxes, your income tax return or whatever, stop doing those returns, and they're not going to get it. You can do the remittance letter for your student loan, and if they don't want to accept it, you don't owe them any money. And at that point, you can do a conditional acceptance on them, or you can stop paying taxes, and then they're not going to get any more. Does that help with your questions?
Yes, it does. And I can do the same thing with the mortgage, right? The 1099A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I've just got to get a bunch of 1099As.
Yeah, and they're coming, folks. Every day I get a dozen or so, a couple dozen emails from folks that are going, I got mine. So they are sending them out. It's just a waiting, it's the waiting time. But
okay,
if you've ordered
when I tried to get them, but nothing.
Are you having trouble ordering them? When
I went to their website, they didn't have them available at all. Like when you search 1099A on the IRS's website, it doesn't show up at all.
Hey, check this out. This is what you do. Do a Google search. You guys that are going on the IRS's website and not finding the 1099As at all, if you do a Google search and you ask Google, how do I get IRS business forms? It's going to take you right to them. Right to them. Let's see here. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
All right.
And just to let you know, I've had someone else that I know of. They actually access their account via the Treasury, and they made the Secretary of Treasury their trustee.
Yeah.
And they are acting as a bank now within themselves. And the Secretary of Treasury is their trustee. So every time they write a check they print their own checks, basically, using all the info from their birth certificate and what have you. And they've accessed it successfully.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I just went while we're sitting here talking, I went to this website, IRS's website.
Okay.
And I'm looking at 1099As right here. There are all the 1099s are there. Look, do that. Do the Google search for IRS business forms, and it'll take you right to where you need to order them from.
All right, we're going to go to 503 area code. You're next.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm on. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Got an interesting question on a CA. So, if you're going to serve a CA on the Attorney General in your state that you would normally serve as a witness, who would you then send your CA as a witness to?
Them.
Just send it right to them?
If you're going to conditionally accept the Attorney General of your state, you're going to include them in the serving. Also include them in the designation of witness to.
No, that's too simple. Okay.
You only need to send them one conditional acceptance, and they are they're actually going to witness against themselves.
Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. We were tossing that back and forth and trying to figure that one out. That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
hey, you're a witness against yourself. How can you not say you didn't get this when you're actually witnessing that you did?
Yeah. So okay,
I've had
and
that
then
question a couple of times.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is Oregon, right? You know what's going on here with all that crap with Mindy and everything. In Oregon. Yeah.
And that's.
Oh yeah. I was down there at the courthouse and the cops there. It was just really pissed me off. Having to deal with that crap and witness that. It was pathetic.
Yeah. That's all right. Our state back, man.
Yeah, it's going to work out for her. But the another question was can you use the 1099As? After you do a purchase, say you purchase a home and you went through a loan, can you go and do that afterwards at any time?
Oh, if you purchased a home through the normal mortgage process, is that what you're saying? And then use the 1099A? Yeah.
Afterwards.
What you're doing is you're making them the offer. You're taking the 1099A and you're making them an offer to settle the debt.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Hold down the fort in Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Who do we have? 725. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey. Okay. Hey. Okay. Quick question. Really like two questions. So for the 1099A, I'm having someone that's paying me for a 1099A. And I fill out the OID, the 1096, and the 1040B, correct? If I wanted to do direct deposit, it would be the 8888 form, correct? Or don't worry about the 8888 form?
I would do it because it'll get to you faster. And it'll go directly to whatever account you want to put it in. But I would suggest that you send it to a beneficiary account.
Okay, that's a problem. See, I don't have a beneficiary account set up. I would have to go and open one, but the thing is, I'm in the check system, so I'm trying to fight my way out of that right now. So I don't know if that will pull up under my beneficiary account.
In the check system?
Yeah.
Oh. No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't? Okay.
Open the beneficiary account in a savings account.
Okay.
And then,
I can do that.
And then get the debit card, because you can still make deposits and withdrawals and use the beneficiary signature at that. You don't have to just sign checks to be the beneficiary.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can get a savings. You can get a beneficiary savings account. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And another question. So for the 1099, okay, so I have a car loan with Bank of America, and I've been fighting with them for like a year and a half. So I've been sending them letters straight to the CEO, trying to get them to remove just the negative history off my credit report. They haven't responded back. So I know now I'm getting ready to do the conditional acceptance. I can put in that I want to send them the 1099A, correct? And then in there under my terms, just put like, hey, I want this showing positive history and paid off, or just go ahead and send it to them without doing the conditional acceptance.
Well, if you do the 1099A and pay it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I would suggest. I'm going to tell you how to take care of your credit problem, your credit report problem. When you do the 1099A on the car and they refuse the payment, you don't owe them.
Okay.
You can do conditional acceptance against the corporation and the CEO. But what you can also do is write a letter to the credit bureaus. One letter to each credit bureau. Right? And in that credit bureau, you notice that account in your letter. And you say, according to Public Law 73-10, all debts, private and public, are paid for. That being said, how can this car company claim that I owe a debt when all debts are paid?
I'm trying to put it in my notes.
What you just did was you disputed a claim on your credit report, and once you dispute it, they have to take it off.
Okay, and you said it was Law 73M?
It's Public Law, or PL 73-10.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. If you look that up, that says, it's a public law that says all debts, private and public, are paid for. If that's the case, then how could they have reported a debt that was owed to them to the credit bureau? There is no debt. There is no debt because Public Law 73-10 says there is no debt. If that's the case, if Public Law says there is no debt, then Cap 1 couldn't have reported a debt to a credit bureau. You can do this with everything on your credit score that's bad. Anything on your credit score, any credit cards, anything that's negative on your credit score can be taken off because you've disputed it that way. And they have to do it. And by them taking that off of your credit score, your credit report, your score is going to go up. Okay.
That's all. I think that was all that I had. Oh, so for the Form 299A, I have the year 2020. I can use those, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I have extra. If I have extras, if anybody needs some, I can spare like maybe 10. So I'm just gonna put my email out there as Shyree CHYREE08 @ Yahoo, and I can spare like 10 at the most.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so next.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I have a number of things. I'm pretty new to all of the 1099A and stuff because I did some of those in 2019, and I got them in on time, but I heard nothing from any of them, and I followed the directions that I was given precisely. So I just wanted to put that out there. But before I forget it, I want to mention one thing, Chris, about your Proton Mail account. You can make it even more secure by doing it instead of at protonmail.com. They have the most secure as at pm.me. That's their most secure.
Yeah, I've seen that. That.
And that's I've been using that for a couple of years now since they brought it out.
I may even upgrade to that I seen that too. That was one of the options. I was more or less trying to get it up, and because I had to transfer, I also got a Mega account where I transferred a lot of files to. I did that the other day after I got hacked. So, yeah, I looked into it.
I've never had any. I've never had any problem at all with the Proton Mail account being hacked or anything like that, and I've used them now for 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so do you want to discuss the issue about you're sitting in the 1099s and not seeing anything yet?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one thing, and then we have a couple of others.
Okay, let's address that first so I don't get scatterbrained with my short-term memory loss. With that right there, how did you fill out the 1099-A? Who was the borrower and who was the lender?
I don't have them right in front of me, but I was, I'll have to go from memory.
You was the lender?
Yeah, as the lender, and well, they were for different things. They were for different things, like for mortgage, utilities, various other kinds of accounts. I didn't hear a thing from any of it.
Yeah, see, that's the way that I'm having folks do this, with the Treasury being the lender and the beneficiary being the borrower. They're if they're not accepting them, they're saying we can't accept these. You're actually hearing from them. I would say it's safe to guess that what they did when you send them 1099 days is they collected on them. Did you ever get copy B back, or did you keep them before? Well, you would have kept, if you were the lender, you would have kept copy C, right?
I kept copies of everything, and I made copies. And I even sent them on a court case. And go ahead.
What I was talking about was, did you pull copy C off of the back?
Yes.
Okay, that's probably why you didn't hear from them. What'll happen?
That's the copy that I'm supposed to keep, right?
What it is if you send those to the Treasury, if you send them all together, all 3 copies, the Treasury will send copy B and copy C back to where they're supposed to go. But by taking that, you're not going to know whether or not copy A was actually used. So the mortgage company probably took the money, and then they didn't
say that
say
again. I can't hear you very well. Can you say that again?
I said that the mortgage company probably took the 1099-A, and then they continue to get you to pay for it. And there's no way of you knowing whether the Treasury actually paid, because you kept the copy C, which would have been your notice that the Treasury had paid. That's where, did you check box 5?
I don't know, because I don't have the forms in front of me.
Yeah. Well, see, that box 5. Box 5 is whether
what does
or not
it say?
you're going to repay it. The box 5 is the box that you have to check if it's going to be repaid. And when you all do these 1099-As, and you are the lender, and more than likely you're going to check box 5 that the creditor that you're paying is going to repay it. You know what I'm saying? Where the way
Yes.
I'm teaching folks to do this is they are the borrowers, and the Treasury is the lender. And you don't check box 5 because the borrower isn't going to repay the Treasury. So that could be why you haven't heard nothing back. It could be
Would
why.
you mind if I emailed you copies of what I sent?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, see, this the
right.
thing. Pardon.
Go ahead.
On that whole deal, it was they did a fraudulent foreclosure. So I, in a non-judicial state, Washington.
Yeah.
And so I presented. This was before, when I was just reading the documents and going by their statutes, what obligated and what they were supposed to do. And so I had to open a court case, and the judge, I presented everything for them, that they didn't have anything, no recorded document showing that they had anything to do with that mortgage. And that was Chase supposedly getting something from Washington Mutual, and I found that not one, that Chase got nothing at all out of the Washington Mutual so-called loans. And so there's no way that they could have anything. And then they boldly assigned it to Goldman Sachs. And so anyway, that's what I did my 1099s, because I was just learning about it after the foreclosure to try to get my home back. And I did it on the judge as well and on the court. So I don't, if I can interact with you with email about it.
Send them to me to my email, and I sure will. I'll sure look at them for you. But I got a pretty good idea what happened there.
Okay.
About that. They've either got your money, or they threw it in the trash because they wanted you to continue paying.
I never paid because what happened was I wanted to lower the interest while I continued to look into their fraud and to learn what to do. And so I called Chase one day, and I said, and this was when all the talk Obama was, if anybody can get what did they call them? A modification. So I called Chase, and I said I would, and everything, all the papers were in my son's name, because he's the one that, and then I was repaying him because I didn't have any wherewithal to get the loans, and it was his first time doing it. And he tried to make a contract with them instead of just sign the unicontract, and they wouldn't let him adjust it. So anyway, let's see, where was I? So I called Chase, and I said, I want to get, what do I have to do? I want to get a modification. And so he looked up the account and everything, and he said, well, he said, you can't get a modification. Your account's in good standing and all that. That made no sense to me because it should be the reverse. So anyway, he said, you have to be 90 days in arrear to get a modification. So I called 3 different times and had other people listen with me because that just sounded so corrupt to me. So what I decided to do was, okay, I didn't pay for 90 days. On the 91st day, I went to the bank to make my payment. And they were familiar with me. You know, they saw me come in and make payments regularly. And so she greeted me. She looked on. She said, "Oh, I can't take this payment." And I was shocked. And she said, "I'll have to have you talk to the manager." So talked to the manager. She told me that they couldn't accept it. And I said, "I'd like for you to step over at one of these customer desks here with the computer and the phone." And we called Chase together and call, that department. And so we did. And she said foreclosure had already begun, 91st day. And they couldn't accept the payment, accept the whole thing. So that led from that to several years of court cases, which I then was trying to, because I know there's got to be a way to hold that judge and that court and Chase and Goldman Sachs and the originator of that loan to my son, to hold them accountable. And I believe probably this 1099 thing is the way to go. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Did they actually end up taking the home from you, or are you still in the battle for it?
No, they took my home, and we had so much equity in there. Also, I thought I had it handled. Then I'm in Missouri right now. I came to Kansas City, Missouri to take care of my folks' property. They both died, and I have executives and had durable power of attorney. Then the word came, my husband from still back in Washington, he said they're at it again. So I went down to the U.S. court here and filed a bankruptcy. And both times that I filed a bankruptcy to stop their activity, neither time, the one I did in Washington State and the one I did here, the sheriff, nobody honored that. They proceeded as though no bankruptcy was filed. And so I also wanted to know about removing with one of your questions with the other people. Can I have those bankruptcies removed with the, the conditional acceptance? Or no, it was with that Public Law 73N.
Yeah. Yeah,
to the credit company?
This is becoming all too common. Folks are, going into foreclosure, and they're filing bankruptcy, and they're taking the property anyway. These weasels are doing whatever they want to do, and as long as the courts, these banker courts, keep smooging up to the banks, the banks are going to keep robbing people of their homes. And like you said, their equities that they have in them. It's sickening. It really is. Yeah.
We built up that property we built up that property to at least twice the value we paid for it. And put organic gardening, organic berries, organic trees, orchard, everything in there, as well as cleaned it all up, added buildings, and we had a whole lot going on with about 4/5 of an acre. But it was all open space. It was beautiful, and I miss my home. So
yeah, I know people are getting it stolen from them. We got to get out of this. We got to get out of this system, and I don't know about what you can do once they're gone. I know that the conditional acceptance is the way to get even, and then some. It's not going to get you your house back, more than likely, but what it might do is get you their house.
What I'd like to do, Chris, what I've thought about doing is if I could find how to do it right, and somebody would work with me that is far ahead of this in the knowledge game than I am on this particular things, is that once I find out how to do it and I'd start my process, then I would go visit the people who are in my house who bought it on nothing more than a foreclosure trustee deed. I have nothing.
Yeah.
And tell them what happened so they can start getting their money back and get out and give me back my home and go find their own home.
Yeah.
So
what you could do is offer them. What you could do is offer them, make them an offer on the house, and get them to take the offer. Make it really worth their while, and then use the 1099A to buy the house back from them. And then once you buy it back from them, it'll be owned flat out. And then do not register the deed. And they will never take your house from you again.
What do you mean by register the deed?
Don't register the deed. Have you ever registered the deed to your property?
No, not that I know of.
Yes, you have. You have.
My son may have before I knew what was going on, but...
Yeah. Someone registered, when you bought that house, someone registered that deed. If you're paying taxes on it, that deed's been registered. It's the only way you can pay taxes on it.
Okay, are you talking about the deed of trust?
Yeah.
Or you're talking about the warranty deed?
The warranty deed. When you get the deed, when you buy a house, the lawyers write up all the contracts and everything, and then you go and you get a deed to the house.
Okay, you're talking about the warranty deed.
A lot of times people do the quit claims deed. And then you go down there and you register the deed at the county tax office or tax assessor's office, and then they start taxing you on it. Now, the reason they do that is because you registered it. Don't register anything. Don't register your homes, don't register your cars. Don't do that, because when you do that, you're actually, according to the 9th edition, revised edition of Black's Law, to register means to prepare security for sale to the public. So when you register something, you sell it to the public. When you register your home, you sell it to the public. When you register your car, you sell it to the public. That's why they can tow your car, because it belongs to them. When you register your children in school, guess who your children belong to when you register them in school? The school.
Well, they say anyway.
Well,
but there's no disclosure on that.
All right, so does that answer your question?
Well, that part.
Okay. We kind of have to move this along because we do have people waiting.
Yeah, I called in 5 times on the calls, listened, and put my number in. I never got a chance to ask.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. What's the question?
So on one of the last few, you talked about the birth certificate bond, and I would like to know if is there material on Tad's website or somewhere about how to monetize that birth certificate bond. And I went through my files. I went back and looked at what my mom gave me. It says right on it, the original one, not the one that you get from the registrar. The original one, it says right on it, this birth certificate. On the back of it, it has my footprints, my mother's thumbprints, my mom and dad's birth information, their name.
That's not a birth certificate. That's a certificate of live birth. is what
well,
that is.
it says right on
The
it, this birth certificate. And then they sent that to the state or county to do whatever they did with it after that, that I have certified copies of the certificate of live birth, and I have a certified copy of the certificate of birth.
And that was the birth certificate bond was something we were kicking around because it is a bond. It's a copy of an original, and that's exactly what the $100 million bond guys have. That was just something that we were kicking around. I would suggest we wait and see what happens with the $100 million bond guys. If they start coming in, then we can do the same thing with the birth certificate because it is a bond. You could actually, your Social Security card is a bond. You can monetize the back of your Social Security card and do the same thing. You can get, 3 of those a year or something like that. It's the concept. That's what we were kicking around last week. The concept of monetizing these different types of bonds that we could turn around and have the Treasury collect on. There isn't a specific website or a book that you can read that explains how to do that. One of my videos explains how to monetize. Another one explains how to do the assessment agreement, and another one explains how to do the contracts. That's how you would do it with the birth certificate if it gets that far. But like I said, that's something we're kicking around.
So to answer your question, there's nothing at the website about how to set that up yet.
Okay. Has anybody actually monetized, in other words, been given the fruits of their work and the concept back in their hands in the form of Federal Reserve notes, a check, or something that can be turned into Federal Reserve notes that can be exchanged for goods and services?
Yeah, I have.
And
the contract that I sent in 2015, and the two contracts, one in 2015 and one in 2016, went to the Treasury. They were monetized. The claims of liens were monetized. They were contracted through the Treasury. The Treasury, one of the options that the Treasury had was trust credits, and they put them they put the money that they owed me in the trust credit into the trust fund, which actually makes me a secured party creditor. I am a secured party creditor, and I have written letters of credit from that, which has put Federal Reserve notes, actually federal credits, into my bank that I can now convert into Federal Reserve notes. Yes, I have.
Okay.
And there are many folks right now that have monetized stuff and sent theirs along the way.
Okay. Here's another deal. I don't know if I think it was a neighbor that turned it in. My folks' house was sitting here for a while, and they had the awning over the front porch and above the windows. It's tattered and all. I had one of them taken down. Needs paint, etc. I keep the yard in good shape. I keep things cleaned up.
Okay.
But they had a. They had a. I'm asking a question. They had an inspector of the House Neighborhood Preservation for the city came out, and they sent 2 tickets. One for that the house has. There's a little part in the front where part of the front wood has a hole in it. It's by the porch.
You got 2 tickets. You got 2 tickets from the city or the county.
Yeah. And I wrote rescission on them. I sent them back to the court. I did that twice. They sent it back. I just got in the mail today or yesterday that their notice of arrest, hello, the crime now, for, let's see, let me get it here. Warrant for arrest. The municipal division has issued a warrant for your arrest for failing to appear for a court date in which you were previously summoned, or because the court has found grounds to issue an arrest warrant pursuant to Supreme Court Rule 37.43 for open storage upon vacant lot.
Hold on.
Yeah.
How did they summons you?
They sent
to a municipal court to appear. How were you summoned?
They sent a summons in the mail.
Did they send a certified mail?
No.
Huh?
No.
Then you weren't served. You weren't served. That's not a proper service. They either have to serve you by a process server or send it to you certified mail. They can't send you a notice in the mail and say you've been served, because shit gets lost in the mail.
Yeah, it's just like this warrant for arrest. It's just pre-sorted first-class mail.
It doesn't matter what, if it didn't come certified mail and you didn't sign for anything, then you were never properly served. Therefore, you cannot have failed to appear, which would initiate the arrest warrant.
Well, what I did, maybe I played into their hands then. What I did was, because I'd opened them, and then I saw what they were, and I wrote rescission across them. I put them back in their envelopes, and I put them in another envelope and sent them back to them, and I purchased a certificate of mailing.
Yeah, what you did is, what you should have done is just thrown it in the trash. Now they realize you basically agreed that you got it. Whether or not you wanted to accept it or not, you got it. Yeah.
Okay, so David Strait suggested I do that.
People do.
Yeah. I was just going to ignore them. But...
So we do have a lot of people waiting right now.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Hey, go ahead and email me with any other of these bunch of questions you got. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, our next person is here, 903 area code. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Chris. I called in a couple of weeks ago and talked to you, and the information you gave me was much appreciated, and it helped. My name is Randy, and I'm the guy that had gotten 22 years with the feds, if that rings a bell. I have a lot of restitution, and I finally got through and talked to the U.S. attorney with the litigation department in the district where I was tried, and they told me what the balance was on my restitution, plus how much interest had accrued. And something that you may or may not know about restitution and how they do it, they are charging me 5.375% interest daily on the outstanding balance.
Damn. Sounds like a bank.
Worse than a bank. I'd call it usury.
Yeah, like a loan shark bank.
Yeah, that's what Christ called it.
Yeah.
My question, though, is this. They're sending me some paperwork on this, so I have it in writing, and I want to use a 1099-A to settle the debt, pay it off.
Yeah.
The lawyer did tell me that the U.S. attorney could waive charges, but I would have to take that issue up with them. I think it's just easier just to go ahead and pay the interest and the principal, if you will, with 1099-A. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And if then if they don't accept it, take it to the Attorney General, and then tell the Attorney General, look, I tried to pay this fake debt that's already been paid for, Public Law 73-10. Now, do you want to take this off of the books, or do we need to actually litigate all this stuff? Let's get Public Law 73-10 out in the open and let everybody know what you guys are doing. They'll probably drop that shit in a heartbeat.
Well, when I send the 1099-A in, that's the only tax document I send them. Is that correct? I don't send the other three or four?
No, they'll do all that.
All right.
They'll do all
that. Okay. Now, I don't have anything in the mail yet, so I don't have a hard copy of what they're sending me. I'll get that tomorrow, they said. But the court is the one that collects the payments that I've been making. Is that where I would send this, or would I send this to the U.S. Attorney? Any suggestions?
Well, you're going to get a letter from them, and they should that should give you an address to send it to.
Yes,
I would send it to whoever's sending you the notice. Is who I'd send it to. Actually, I'd try and figure out who the head cheese was. Who's the head guy over all this? Well, it's Commissioner so-and-so, or it's Attorney General so-and-so, or whatever the case may be. And send it to figure out who is kind of the corporate name that you're sending this to. And then find out who's the big guy in charge, and then send it to them. If they want to open it up and look at it and send it to where it needs to go, let them do that. It's kind of like people ask me all the time, why don't I just go on ahead and send this to Ogden, Utah if it's going to go there anyway? Because you don't want to send the contract to the Treasury to Ogden, Utah. You want it to go to the Treasury, so it gets in their hands, and then let them decide what, it's going to go to Ogden, Utah, but let them be the ones who hands it off. You let them put their hands on it. The same thing with these, why would I send it to the CEO? Why wouldn't I just send it to the CFO? Because you want it in the CEO's hands. He'll decide where to send it. That's what I would figure out. Who's the big? If it's it'd be a federal thing. If it was like in the state, is it the state comptroller that gets the money? Well, then figure out who's over the state. Who's the state comptroller?
Well, in this case, it's the clerk of the court who receives the money.
Then I would send it to the court in care of the clerk of the court.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do is you're going to send this by the postal rule, which means it's going to be a common law contract.
Right.
So you want to get the clerk, even though the clerk is the one that's getting paid, you want the principal notice too. That's why you send it to the circuit court in care of the court clerk. Because it starts dropping names on who's all going to be connected with this common law contract that you've created. And so that's what I would, if it goes to the court clerk, send it to him, but send it to him in care of.
Okay. All right, and I'll keep you advised on how this works out.
Yeah, please do. I'm interested in how this works out.
Sure. I have one other question, if I may, please. I did a 1099-A to purchase a vehicle a little over 45 days ago. I made sure that the other attached forms were filled out correctly and they were mailed in. And the accountant there at the dealership sent it to 1111 Constitution Avenue, all right, but she sent it addressed to the IRS. That should make a difference.
She didn't send it to the Treasury?
No, she put the IRS rather than the United States Treasury.
Yeah.
We've heard nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that'll probably get to where it's going anyway, but you got to realize that on the 1099-A, who's the lender? The United States Treasury. That was correct, right, on your 1099-A?
Repeat that, please. You kind of cut out on me.
On the 1099-A, the lender is the Treasury, right?
That is correct.
Then you're good. Then you're good, because that's where the IRS is going to get it, and they're going to go, oh, this is coming out of the Treasury. And that'll be straight. Yeah.
I have tried calling the Treasury, but I don't get an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been a little slow. Hey, it's like this, man. People are calling the IRS, and nobody's answering. Nobody's answering. That's pretty much unheard of, right, about tax time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a notice from some intel that the United States Treasury has been closed down in Washington, D.C., and has now been relocated to Reno, Nevada. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't. That's interesting, though, if that is the case.
All right, so we got some other people waiting.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Keep us informed, brother.
Thank you.
All right.
973, go ahead. 973 area code.
I'm here. Thank you. God bless you, Ted and Chris.
Yes, you'll have to speak up. You're kind of quiet.
Gotcha. Is this better? Hey?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, saying God bless y'all. Thank you for doing this. I'm going to try and be quick with this. A few questions. One, with the 8888, I looked at the instructions, and it was saying if you're sending this to more than one account, and then said if you're sending it to just one, as in providing the routing and account number for one account, it said not to use that. But, I understand that we're using some of these forms perhaps not in the exact way as the instructions would put it. So what do you think about that?
Well, are you trying to send it to two different accounts?
No.
So you're just sending it to one account?
If I was a trustee, like if I'm going to be telling somebody about this, and
I
want to make sure if they go look at it, then they're like, oh well, what's going on here?
Yeah,
because it said like do not send to.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was saying the instructions said if you were sending. Like, use this if you're sending to at least two different accounts, so whatever money you're getting pulled up from the 1099-A or what have you. But if you're using one, then do not use this form. Like, if you're going to send it to one account.
No, you can do it. You can send it to one.
Well,
it's got to. Yeah, you can. You can. They just normally use it for more than one account. But you can use it. It's kind of like the 96. Oh, you got to use 196 for every form. You got to use one for the OIDs and one for the 88, the 99As, and but you don't have to. they're going to look at it and they're going to go, oh, this is just going to one account. Well, this might not be the way we do it, but we know what they're doing, so we'll send it there. They're not real sticklers about stuff, especially when they're paying out. It's when they're trying to get more, they're trying to get money, that they want to be sticklers about shit. They're never going to audit themselves for sending stuff out. It's always what they're getting in that's getting audited. So what was your other question, man?
Copy. Thank you. If any of us were to send letters to the, like Experian or something, disputing some of these things on our credit reports, could we send one letter for reference all the accounts, or should we send separate letters for each account?
Yeah, if you say you had three bad things on your Experian, you would address all three. You could address all three of those accounts on one letter, and say, "Look, man, if all debts are paid for, public and private, how is it that these three things are claiming that I owe them money that's already paid for?" And just the fact that you dispute it takes them off your credit report until the alleged creditor can prove that all debts public and private aren't paid for. You see what I'm saying? If they're making a claim saying you owe them money, and you make a claim saying, how can I owe them money when all debts are paid for, their response will have to be, all debts aren't paid for, and this is why. Which means they can't do that. They can't go against that public law. And just the fact that it's in dispute takes it off of the credit report. It has to come off of the credit report until it's proved one way or the other. And that doesn't affect them trying to collect that money, those three different creditors from collecting money. All that does is notice the population that that there's a claim of a debt that's owed. That's all that is. All the credit report is someone's claiming that you owe them money. You're claiming that you can't owe them money because all debts, public and private, are paid for. That'll have to be disputed. And these credit companies aren't going to do that. They're just going to go, oh, well, freaking walk away from that one. They've caught on. You would do three different letters to the three different bureaus, because what you're going to do is you're going to look at each bureau, because some bureaus might not have the same credit discrepancies on them. That's why some credit bureaus will say that your credit score is higher when others won't, because some stuff they didn't get reported to. So you have to go and you have to look up all three of them and see which ones are bad. Which ones in here are bad on this one? Those are the accounts that I want to address. The ones that says I'm good, that are good, that are on the plus side, I don't want to touch those. I want to leave those in there. When the bad stuff comes off and all that's left is the good stuff, your credit score goes up.
Thank you very much.
And I've seen, yeah, man, I've seen a couple letters like that, y'all, where they've actually argued Public Law 73-10, and they're winning. They're winning this. They're causing this dispute that lifts it off of your credit score.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Oops. Sorry.
Hello.
740.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate it. So I got to talk to you one other time, Chris, and I talked to you about the time that I had done 20-some years ago, and you advised me on how to go about getting the bond numbers and all that. My question is, what's my next step after I get those bond numbers to the steps towards getting the royalties?
Okay, what you do once you all get these bond numbers, you can now send the 1099-A to pay the bond. Okay, by paying the bond. My
bond's been matured for several years now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. If the bond's matured, it's already been sold. It's already been sold and it's been cashed out.
Okay. So don't even worry about it?
It doesn't do any good to go after. If the bonds were created, you got a 10-year sentence. The 10 years are up. The bonds have matured, and they've been cleared. They've been cashed out. So you really can't get at them. They have to be active.
Okay. Well, and I just wanted to, I know I stirred up a whole hornet's nest for you on that subject. I've heard a lot of the questions coming forth about stuff like that. So thank you for clearing that up for me. The other question I had for you is I was looking through my stuff for my school loans because I had written a letter and you've already read it and told me it sounded great. And then I found out that my loan wasn't actually sold to those collectors. It is still owned by the United States Department of Education. So I'm going to do the letter and the 1099-A as soon as I have the money to send that out. And then, but I'm writing my conditional acceptance just in case. Do I need to address my conditional acceptance also to the United States Department of Education? Like, do I need to add them as an accused?
Yeah, you're going to put them right at the top. You're going to find out. That's going to be the principal, and whoever the commissioner is over that is going to be the next person, and then it's going to be the bank that has the loan. Send them the 1099-A and see what their response is. Be ready.
Yeah.
Have your baseline. Have your baseline for your conditional acceptance ready, and then
I've been working on
it. Adding the people, because see, you're going to get a letter back from someone. If they're going to reject it, you're going to get a letter back from someone, and in that letter, that person's going to name theirself. They may not sign it, but they're going to name theirself. You're going to add them to it. Your conditional acceptance. Because they're the ones that made you here's the offer we're making you. We're not accepting your 1099-A. All I'm trying to do is comply with Public Law 73-10, which says all debts.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in there.
Private are paid for. Yeah.
Well, and I've got information from my state constitution as well that says that student loans will be paid by my government. So I'm putting that in there. I put 73 Public Law 73-10 in there. I put the UCC codes in there that said if you don't accept this, I don't owe you money anymore and all that stuff. I've got it all in there. I have.
Remember to use those pertinent laws without prejudice. Okay.
Absolutely.
When you go in there, you do the whole list of pertinent laws. At the very bottom, say something to the effect that, I'm aware of the fact that these are your laws and not mine, so I use them without prejudice.
Yeah, and did you know that those laws are also copyrighted? So you have to put something in there about that too, so you're not infringing on the copyright. Well, at least that's what I've heard. I'm going to cover my ass either way, just because it's all about the language, right?
It never hurts to add some fluff.
Right.
It never hurts to add some fluff.
Exactly. So I've got two more questions for you. Actually, I've got three more questions for you. One's real simple. You mentioned one other time about filling out your credit card application with the registered filing number instead of the date of birth. And you said that worked? I couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah, it did.
And
mine was June the 2nd, and it does work.
Okay.
It does work.
I'm going to get that a shot.
They gave me the credit card, even knowing from previous credit cards that it was May 22nd. So
awesome.
Yeah, they've agreed to it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Also, I wanted to ask you, you know how you say to look up when you're talking about the assignment letter for the Treasury, like when you're doing your contract with them, and you say look up a template, look up a template. I've looked up a lot of them. I don't like the wording in them. But when I went to the Assignment of Claims Act that you talked about, it has a suggested format right there in the Act. Am I good just in that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I say use it, because you want them to know that this is what they have to do. This is a deal.
Okay.
There's a format in there that basically breaks it all down. And
it doesn't have all the it doesn't have all the verbiage that gives them extra power that I don't want to give them. So I like okay. And then my last question for you is, we talked about the marriage license and how we're going to rescind our signatures. My husband and I both have agreed that we're going to do that, to rescind our signatures on our marriage license. Well, we do know that there's a bond written on the marriage license, right? So my question is, can I monetize, or can he and I both monetize that bond?
You both have to, because you're both on there.
Okay, and then
you can monetize that too.
And then we would contract with the Treasury?
Yeah. But you got to figure out how much the bond's worth before you monetize it.
And how do I go about finding out the value of that?
You can probably go to a broker and then give them the marriage license number, because it has a bond number, right?
Yeah.
They do. Every marriage license has a bond number. You can do that, research that just like you would your bond number on the back of your Social Security card, your bond number on your birth certificate. That can all that can be found. Believe me, if it's a bond, it's a bond of matrimony.
Can you recommend a brokerage firm that could look that information up for me? Somebody that's reliable?
You may be able to find it yourself, but usually you can go through investment brokers to do that. Say, look, I want to find out what this bond is worth, because it is a bond. It's the bond of holy matrimony.
Now, would we do that before or after we do our resignation of our signatures?
I would do it before.
Okay.
I would do it before, because once you rescind the signature, that you're not going to have anything to do with that bond anymore.
Gotcha. All right. So then, can I ask one more question kind of related to that?
Yeah, sure.
So you know how marriage marries the trust, but it also gives state control of a third of the property, or that is accrued from that trust, right? Or from that contract.
Yeah.
So because we had our daughter before we got married, can I include my rescission on her birth certificate? Will that take away the state's power over owning her, even though she has, the dry dock vessel? Can I rescind my informant signature from her birth certificate?
When you rescind a signature, you're doing it because there wasn't full disclosure.
Right.
And any time there isn't full disclosure on a contract, it voids the contract. So by rescinding your signature on the marriage license, you're saying, we're doing this, we're rescinding this because fraud was involved.
Fraud was involved.
That you could, you didn't tell
so
us.
Her trust?
What's that?
I don't think it'll hurt her trust. It wouldn't hurt my daughter's trust for me to rescind my informant signature on her birth certificate, right? Because it's all about language, right? They screw us over with language. We might as well learn how to use it.
Her trust is her Social Security account.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure before we did this.
It's not even her birth certificate. That's still a bond. It doesn't belong to you. You
right.
know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you're the beneficiary of it, but the property itself belongs to somebody else. That's why you got a certified copy. You don't have the original birth certificate.
Right. I just want to. I guess my concern is, of course, removing any power the state thinks they have over my child.
Yeah.
Right. I want to remove them from the contract.
Yeah. If you think about it, the marriage is a three-party contract. You, your spouse, and the state. That means the state is entitled, the corporate state, is entitled to a third of your product. Your product is your children, right?
Unless we had them before wedlock, right?
Product is a if it's before wedlock, then they're not. But you kind of do, because they're
right,
still
because they already
minors.
threw into signing over as a informant at birth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank you for that.
But, yeah, you're welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Next question. Next person is 916. Go for it.
Hello. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and to everyone who is also doing it and learning. And by listening, I may have gleaned the answers which I seek. But may I ask, if one were to advise...
Your speaking is a little bit soft. If you could increase the volume a little bit, that would help us out.
Okay. Thank you.
Much better.
Okay. If one were to advise, or whatever the correct terminology is, someone in California who is threatened with foreclosure by whatever the company is, mortgage company, what would be the first step that you would suggest, please?
Well, there is you can do the UCC1 and put a huge claim, file a huge claim on the property. The house owes you. The house might owe you might owe the bank $200,000, but I've got the house owing me $3 million or $1 million. By doing that,
what kind of claim?
The house owes, go to your Secretary of the State's office and do a UCC1. Claim the lien. Okay. There's also a mortgage foreclosure letter that you can do to the CEO of the mortgage company.
Okay.
Where you can you're basically saying something to the effect of be it known, I do not want to be a party to a fraudulent and or unlawful contract. This offer is not a waiver of presentment. This is an offer of compromise, and as such, the offer shall be protected under Federal Rule of Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 408, acceptance of this offer by the bank would require an agreement by both parties to the stipulation of ARS subsection 47-3504 and must include a waiver of rights by the bank to appeal. And then you put your name. I do hereby offer the interest of justice, or in the interest of justice. And then there's a few parts here. Some language of holder in the statement of facts, holder in due course, and it's about a 5-page document, I guess, that I got that I've written up for foreclosures. That actually has a lot of the laws that shut down the foreclosure.
Great. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
so much. And
if you're having a problem, if y'all are having a problem, you've just been noticed by a foreclosure, email me and I'll send you a Word document foreclosure that's already set up. You'll have to change a few things in it, but for the most part, it's agreement to stop payments, and it's got a lot of stuff.
Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually became acquainted with a gal this week that specializes in eliminating mortgages. It takes a few months to do it, but if you want to get in touch with her, get in touch with me through the website. You have the right .com.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
There's
Thank
all
you
different
so
kinds of ways you can mess with these jokers that are trying to steal a piece of property that you paid for at closing time.
Yes.
There's a lot of ways around it. And the first thing to do, I mean, especially if it's an emergency, they are beating down your doors getting ready to pack your stuff out.
Yeah.
As long as the foreclosure hasn't gone into the hearing process, you can do a UCC1 on it and make the claim that the house owes you more. That has been effective in some cases, but it's a Band-Aid. It's a quick fix right away that may or may not work. So, like Pat was saying,
this gal, not only can she get your mortgage clear, but any payments you've made, you could get returned to you.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
Contact me about that.
Yeah, any of y'all got foreclosure. And see, that's why I want to do this letter of credit and get it on your website, because that's not the only jewel that's dropped on your website. There is all kinds of stuff on there that's valuable. And that's why I want to get all these people that are on my channel. I want them to become associated with and familiar with your website. I think it's too valuable for people to pass by. I really do. I would suggest anybody out here listening.
Hello, is anybody there? Yeah, there's no sound from Tad or from Chris.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything either.
Oh, so there you are. He unmuted me. Or does anybody else hear us? Anybody else out there besides this?
Just us chickens? So much good information. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
All right, hello everybody. Hello, we're back. Can you hear me? Hold on, I got somebody on here. Can you hear me? I can hear other people. I don't know what happened. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how long I was talking.
Somebody with a restricted phone number. I just unmuted you. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hey,
Chad
John.
and Chris, thank you. This is Arizona John.
Okay, hold on,
I had a simple question.
Hold on. John, hold on. We just got disconnected somehow. I don't know what happened. Everything
I don't know what
blank.
happened to the lady.
Everything went blank, you guys, so we're back. We lost a number of people. Yeah, the lady, I'm sorry. I muted somebody else and she disappeared, and I'm very sorry. So
she was area code 916.
Yeah, I think she's about done, Tad. She's going to contact you with the foreclosure issue, the gal with the foreclosure issue. That's fantastic. I'd almost like to do something like that, man. With
I asked that gal if she would teach me how to do it, and she was really offended. She was really offended because she locked herself into her room for like 2 years and did nothing 14 hours a day but study law.
Yeah, well, she needs to. That's her deal.
Right.
Like your website's your deal. And if someone gets on there and steals one of your, go ahead and steals one of your recordings, and turns around and tries to, get out here and make some money on it, that happens a lot on YouTube. People are stealing my videos and trying to make money on their site with their shit. So I can understand where she would be offended.
Well,
no, pay the lady. If she can do what she says she does, it's well worth it.
Right.
My freaking house payments are $700 a month, and that's fairly cheap.
It is.
From where I live. For a 4-bedroom house on an acre of land, it's fairly cheap.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, John.
Hi. Well, here I am. I'm just setting up a scenario. We have a deluxe Mercedes-Benz car. The taxes, the fees, the shipping, everything, $120,000. All right. Do we add 35% to that figure so the Treasury can get its money?
No.
Which would be whatever?
No.
Oh.
No,
so how do you...
They're not collecting money for you. What they're doing is they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as a trustee by taking care of your needs. Now, here's
from
what
my beneficiary account.
Yeah. Here's what they'll do.
Okay.
Because they're trustees in a fiduciary obligation, to meet your needs, they get a fee for, and they will take that fee out of your trust, and you won't even know what it is.
Oh, okay,
It's only when you give them something of value that they're going to collect and send you a monetary amount of money for, that they get. You want to contract with them. If you're buying a car with a 1099-A, you're not contracting with the Secretary of the Treasury. You're sending the 1090. You're sending the check along the way, and they're going to do their fiduciary obligation and send you that check or that those funds to the trustee that's buying or selling you the car, getting the car for you. They're going to get paid.
Okay.
Every transaction that they do, when you do your 1040, file your taxes, they're going to get paid from your trust for processing those taxes.
Okay.
They're not. The IRS is not collecting this money and processing your 1099, your 1099s and your 1040s. They're getting paid from your trust because they're trustees.
Okay. Now, if you stopped a foreclosure on a home with a 1099-A and say it gets done, could you then in the same year, you're living in this property, then you could get another $2 million property of 20 acres because you need it. Would you be able to do that in the same year or not?
No. You can't do two properties in the same year.
Even though you're merely protecting one?
Yeah. You can do one property in December and the other property in January. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
What about, I was listening for your email and I got most of it. Could you tell, you were cutting out on me. Could you tell me that again?
Yeah, it's capital C, capital A, capital H, AUSER. The AUSER is in lowercase at protonmail.com.
I have some stuff I want to include for you and Tad, and when I get it ready. It's 101 ways to have a void judgment. And
okay.
I thought it'd be very interesting for you. I've been working on this for years.
Maybe. Well, I think an easier read would be 60 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
That's already been done, brother.
Off the bus, Gus. Don't need it.
Hey, here's the other then. That behooves another question. What about a marriage license that I got a divorce on? Can I use that bond?
Yeah, that bond's still active, or should be. It will be until
I've got a divorce decree, and I have it somewhere. I'd have to find the damn thing.
Yeah, all a divorce is a separation of the trust. It
right.
doesn't mean that the bond's dead. You know what I mean?
Right. And how do you know how much money is in a divorce, a marriage license?
By the number. By the serial number.
It was in 1977, brother.
Yeah.
It might have collected some money by now.
Yeah, I'm sure it has.
All right, John. So
all right. Well, thank you. God bless.
All right,
thank
you. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Okay.
You too.
Didn't I hit next question? Next question. Oh, no.
What's up?
Hello?
Okay, so what's going... Oh, there. Okay, there we go. 636. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, Chris. This is Rob. I'm the hard-headed guy from Missouri with too many people on my CA. I got it all in the mail today. And,
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I had 62 people, and then I had 23 principals. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that those people really angered me. But I took some stuff I learned from you and put it with some other stuff that I had learned along the way. And I had written the electric company a letter, and I have not seen an electric bill in 4 months. I'm pretty sure they collapsed the account, and I want to try to claim the abandoned account. And
that could be.
You go,
and they haven't cut your power off.
Haven't cut the power off, and I haven't seen a bill.
I
think I got them to realize me as a beneficiary, and they have actually tried to call me once a month. The phone rings 2 or 3 times from some power company, and then I don't hear from them until the next month. 2 or 3 times they try to call.
Yeah, they're what they're doing is they stop billing you because they're still billing your trust. They're not double dipping anymore. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're still getting paid. What they're trying to do is contact you to see if they can get you to recontract with them.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I didn't answer the phone.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I would get started. Yeah, and if they called, I would talk in a female Spanish accent, like I was a housemaid or something.
Right on. So you think the account's still open and they're just not billing me? I asked them to collapse the account and return all on-ledger and off-ledger assets to me, the grantor and beneficiary.
Yeah, that's what's happening. When you start these utilities up, you give them your trust number, and then what they do is they start billing your trust because they are in a fiduciary obligation to make sure that your need for power is met. And then what they try to do is they try to get you to pay them extra money. And if you'll pay them, they're all fine with that. Oh, yeah, we're going to, we'll take this extra money. We'll call it a service fee. Yeah, and that's how they do it. They know the jig is up, and now they can't cut it off. Because to cut it off would make them malfeasant in office. Yeah.
So can you repeat one more time what it was that you did?
I sent them a letter and basically told them I was alive and I'm the beneficiary of the account.
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious if the account is there for me to claim. Did they close the account and now I can claim it as an abandoned account? Or you're thinking they just stopped billing me?
The account. I don't think they closed the account. The account is doing what the account's supposed to do.
Right.
It's going to stay open and keep providing you power, and they're going to keep taking the money for the light bill from your trust.
Got it.
They're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, in your case, without committing fraud, is what they're doing in everybody else's case. They're legitimately taking care of you like they're supposed to. Wow. So I don't think it's closed to the point where you can claim it as abandoned. If it was closed, they would cut your power on. And they would say, this account is closed. Go out there and pull the frickin' main. Pull the meter. this account is closed. So that's a pretty good indication that the account is still open because the power is still on. What I would do, if I were you, is continue doing what you're doing, absolutely nothing, and enjoy the power.
Right on.
You know what I mean? I'd power up everything. I'd leave all the lights on. Come on, kids. You can turn every light in the house on. Hey, let's go out for dinner with all the lights on.
Right on. I did the same thing with the water company, and it didn't seem to work so well. Or I don't know that it hasn't worked. Although they keep sending me a bill, they just may not shut my water off. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it occurring every month then? Is it going up every month?
Yeah. And I've tried sending a couple of coupons.
Yeah, when it gets over $600, send them a 1099-A.
I've tried sending them a couple of coupons back, with the beneficiary signature on the back and the front of it marked accepted. And so far it hasn't done any good.
Well, are they sending the coupon back to you?
No, they're keeping it.
Well, then they've accepted it.
Right.
I would call them and say, hey, man, you guys keep accepting my coupons, man. Why are you still sending me a bill? Are you trying to commit fraud? Are you trying to commit trust fraud? Because I am the beneficiary. You do know that I'm the beneficiary. I would try something like that with the water company, see if they stop sending you bills. Say, look, you guys are already getting your money from my trust. Are you not? And then see if they get quiet about it. Oh, well, you're not answering, so I guess you're acquiescing and you are getting money from my trust.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. Yeah, every little win is triumphant.
Oh, that's huge. I've been studying this stuff for a long, long time. That's the first time I've actually seen it work or had it work in my life.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
That's great. That's great, Missouri.
Yeah, congratulations. Well, now I've got to add a new category, success stories.
Yeah.
Right on. That could work.
Yeah.
Hey, one other quick thing. I know other people are in line.
Okay.
You said something the other night about helping Winston Shrout get out of jail on one of your YouTube things. I have power of attorney for Winston and have been in touch with him. And I wish I knew more to do. I was going to do the 928 package from Anna von Ritz and, get him back on the land. But if you have other stuff that'll work, I think you said you had a
That'd be
habeas
something,
corpus.
wouldn't it? It'd be nice to get him out. It really would.
Yeah.
You said you had a habeas one time that worked, didn't you?
We lost. Yeah. Yeah, it may. Hey, it might work. You might really do that.
A few $100 million in
what
his
might
pocket,
work
too.
what might work even better is to go ahead and 1099-A those bonds. Then he gets out with the money he should be getting.
He said he already sent him a 1099-A, and it didn't work.
Did he get the bond numbers, though? Did he get the penal bond numbers?
I don't.
Because you can send a 1099-A in on the case, but if you don't use a 1099-A to pay off those penal bonds, that's probably why it's not working for him. He needs to FOIA request the penal bonds. And then once he gets the penal bonds, he can 1099-A the penal bonds. That pays them off prematurely, and then they end up going back to the court of original jurisdiction. And they refuse those bonds. They reject those bonds because they don't want to pay the taxes that are now due on those bonds. So they reject them, and they send them back to the DTCC, where they are abandoned. And then he does a 1099 again and collects on them. This time he's using it as an abandonment. To pay off the bonds, you're going to use the 1099A as an acquisition of a security or secured property to claim them once they're rejected by the original court. And then you're going to do an acquisition, a 1099A as an acquisition, and get them and get the bonds. And then you'll get them all. They'll take the 28%, but you're going to get the rest of them. The state, the original court doesn't get to do that. They don't get to keep the what isn't taxed because they're your bonds. Those bonds are actually your bonds. They belong to you because those bonds were created against your trust. And that's how that works.
So, sir, why don't you contact me through the website? Because I know Winston, and maybe we can work together privately to do something.
That'd be super.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, you guys. That would be a big win if we could get Winston Shroud out.
That's right.
All right, I'll send you an email.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, you bet. Bye-bye.
Hey, brother, have a good night, and congratulations, man.
Thanks, Chris. Take care. Thanks for everything you've taught me, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, brother.
Take care.
Okay, so we have 818.
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, man.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I got a friend of mine has a PSC. It's Personal Service Corp. And he's agreed to be my trustee to get the 1099A. He's going to do the OID and the 1040V and the 1096, and then he's going to get the put those forth and get the money so that he can buy me a house. My question is that when he gets the check from the Treasury, does he just put that into his business account and then uses that to pay down the house for him?
Yeah, he can use his business account as an escrow. He just needs to keep record of all the money, how the money's going out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, this was just my thought about it too. If there's any money left over, say like I have a house in mind and I use that as the plan, but it might be gone before the 45 days. So I know I don't have to buy that particular one, but say I buy one that's $100,000 less, there's $100,000 left over. Can I open a trust account as the beneficiary and then put that money in there to pay down, just say like, I don't know, insurance on the house and stuff like that?
Yeah. What you can do in a situation like that is you're buying a house. Say your buddy's going to help you do this. What you're going to do is you're going to buy the house, and in the description on the 1099A and on the OID, you're going to use that particular house as the description. Now, when the money comes in and goes into an escrow and the house gets sold, you use that money to buy another house of equal or less value. And then what you do is you do a correction on the 1099A. You'll take a new 1099A and you'll make a correction, and it'll be mostly with the description of the new house. And then you'll send that, or he'll send that in, and then say it's $100,000 less.
Right.
If you're going to have to put at least $80,000 into that property, you're going to have to put a new roof on it and, do all kinds of remodeling. I mean, you can put a $20,000, $30,000 kitchen in a house.
Right.
So you go through $80,000 doing home improvements. Drop a pool on it. That's $50,000 right there. So as long as you do that, and then you're left with $20,000, you can justify keeping that because you were the contractor that subcontracted out the job to make the improvements on the house. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, because see, what I was going to do is if it was left over, I was going to put, like, insurance on the house for a year. You know what I mean? Like you said, if it needs any improvement, like, I don't know, solar, maybe I want to put solar on as an alternative, and then I really want to dig a well to get off city water and stuff like that. So I was going to try to eat it up like that. I didn't know if that was cool.
Yeah, that's like $10,000 right there just to dig a well.
If you're lucky.
Right.
Yeah. I got.
Okay, so he doesn't need no special account. It can straight go into his regular business account, and then I've contracted with him that he is the trustee.
Yeah, he's just going to have to be able to answer the audit if he gets audited. Well, you did this for this guy. You're a trustee for this guy. We want to see how the money went. He'll be able to go,
right.
Well, here's $200,000 that we used to buy the house with, and here's $80,000 that went into improvements, and we're entitled to keep $20,000 of that $100,000. Okay, you're cool. Have a good day.
Right, and then I told him that I would give him 5% for being trustee. That's a fair market value. That's fair, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you do is giving him 5%, $300,000 hit. He's getting $15,000 straight off the rip. So now you can put less into it and keep your 20. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
That's how that would work. You can cook the
awesome.
To make it look like it's good. But here's the thing about insurance. Why are you going to get insurance?
Yeah. I was just,
you can buy another house next year.
I can do another one next year.
Yeah, if say the house burns down, right?
Right.
You can practically build another house back just using the 1099A.
Right.
You can do this every year. You can use the 1099A as an insurance policy.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even dawn on me until you said that right now.
Yeah. If your house burns down, bam, you've lost $300,000. Write a 1099A and say insurance on my destroyed house.
Gotcha.
And have your trustee
rebuild.
go ahead and get the money to rebuild.
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, because I remember you telling me that it reminded me when you said your buddy was buying a car like every month. They came knocking at the door and they were like, it's only one a year per adult,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough.
Buy a house.
What was that? You broke up. I couldn't hear you.
I said you can feasibly buy a house every year.
Right. I didn't know if you could do that or not, but
yeah, one year. The beneficiary's got teenagers, and I need a 2-story house. And then the next year, it's like, look, I can't. The beneficiary can't get up and down a 2-story flight of stairs in a 2-story house. I need a 1-story brick ranch. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Okay, Chris, I appreciate it, man. You're awesome, bro. That was my only question I had. I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your time with us tonight.
Okay. Next call, 208. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Carlene from Idaho. Blessings.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
Hi. So I had a couple quick questions. The W8BEN, when we fill that out, do we send it into the Treasury?
No, you send it into the IRS.
You send that one into the IRS. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then the tax 1099.com, you said that we could go on there if we've filed, had a 1099A filed. And so I've gone on there and put in all the information like the 1099A that got filed. But then it asks if we want to submit it. And it has all these little boxes to mark, and then has a fee, like a couple $1 fee, which doesn't bother me. I'm just wondering, am I double filing, or how does that work?
If you're checking, if you're using it to check on it, then on the 1099A, you can only do it if you file electronically.
Okay. Now these were held in.
So if you're going to do that, you're probably going to end up filing again if you've got if you filed with paper.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't actually submit it yet or pay anything on it, because I wasn't sure on that.
Yeah, but a lot of folks, if you did do that, you could just amend it later on with a correction.
Okay.
They're real easygoing with what's going on. They want us to learn how to do this right. There's no doubt in my mind. So those people that are doing things out here and experimenting with stuff, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, look, you can't do it like that. You're going about this the wrong way. You got to do it like this. That's how.
So if we have filed them and something's not correct on it, then they will let us know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I know that we had some 1099As that were filed. I am purchasing a house from a private party, and my daughter's purchasing a house from a private party. And I accidentally kept some of the carbon copies out that shouldn't have been left out. Is there a chance that those will still go through then? Because I watched all your videos and checked and made sure and double-checked that, everything else was filled out right.
Yeah, the A's will go through, and the copy A will, they'll go through. The only thing about the B and C staying with A is when that hits the Treasury and they send it down to the down to the IRS. The IRS is going to pull those off and then send them back to where they're supposed to go. That's why there's two addresses on the 1099A. They're going to look at the lender and they're going to go, oh, the lender's the Treasury. So copy C goes to the Treasury. Copy A is going to get used basically as the check, and copy B is going to go to the borrower. They're going to look on there and say, oh, it's John J. Doe, out here in East Tennessee. Here's his address. Send it back then. That way you're going to know that they've got it and they've processed it. By taking the carbon copies off and only sending A, you're not going to get notified that the payment has been made, unless when the payment is made, the person that's acting as the trustee calls you up and goes, hey man, our deal worked, man. I got the funds.
Well, and I know they will. We used an 8888 also when they filed. The only other part that I think it was an issue is I put down the address of the properties instead of an invoice number, because I didn't catch that before on your videos, how you made up your own invoice number. So I used the address of the properties as my invoice on the whatever form.
That'll be okay.
That'll be
in the
okay.
description, when you do the house, you can do the address. You can do the lot number.
Well, I put that in the description. But not for the invoice.
Yeah.
So they should be good then, because it's been sitting almost a month.
Well, there may not always be an invoice number or an account number. You can leave those. There's times when that box in the lower left-hand corner is going to be empty because there is no account number to pay off. There may not be an invoice or purchase order number or something like that. So it's not something they're going to sweat if you don't do it.
Okay, and then I think you had mentioned. That's great to know because we were getting ready to resubmit them. I just lost it. You had mentioned earlier something about a beneficiary. So since these are private parties and we did fill out the 8888 and we only used one account to put them in, will it be okay since they're not beneficiary accounts?
Yeah, I would get them out. I would get the funds out quick, though.
Okay, so like as soon as they get deposited, them, have them transfer into another account.
As soon as they get in there, start making those checks out to purchase them homes.
Okay, because they'll be pulling off.
Get it out.
Yeah, because they'll be paying off, of course, their house. My daughter's purchasing the one house from our neighbors, and then I'm purchasing another house in the neighborhood. And so we'll just get the funds. I will let them know to immediately get those funds out of there and into something else.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
and where
if it goes to,
go ahead. Sorry.
If you're buying the house and it's going to the seller's account.
Yes.
As soon as it hits the account, do the close.
Okay.
And then if they want to keep the money in the account, let it lay. But I would suggest to them, anytime you have a large drop like that from the Treasury into your account, that you move it into a beneficiary account. Just because there's more safety in a beneficiary account as far as people sticking their hands in it and getting what they want out.
Right.
The government can't do that. The bank can't do that. It's kind of like when I get my VA check. Child support can't stick their hand in my bank account and take out what they want. The bank can't reach in there and take out what they want because it's a beneficiary account. You got to be real careful about what you do because there's a real living, breathing being that is the beneficiary of that account. You got to be real careful. You can go to prison. You can go to prison for trust fraud, messing around with the beneficiary account. So that's why I say that. It's better to have your money in a beneficiary account.
All right. So does that answer your question?
It does. One more quick question. Okay. So we had a new credit union. Is the credit union a good place to do a beneficiary account?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any bank.
So we did everything through private party without any realtors on both of these properties. We can just write up a bill of sale and add gold and silver to that, right?
Yep.
And then
write up the contract, which would be the bill of sale for the house.
Right.
You can use Federal Reserve notes, but just make sure you use at least 21 silver dollars in the contract.
$21 silver. Okay. Thank you so much.
Write out the words 21 silver dollars.
Okay. 21 silver dollars. I will have that added.
Yeah.
So then we wouldn't need to go through like escrow or any of that, or would we still have to do that?
No.
Okay, so we do not have to go through escrow.
that money's going to come into those people's accounts, and you're going to get the contracts right away.
Okay.
Once you do that, once you got the contract, you'll own the house. Do not register any deeds.
We will not register any deeds. Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, man.
Have
a good night. Bless you, good sister.
All right. Grant's pass. Go ahead.
Well, Chris, this is kind of a complicated scenario. If you like, I can send it to you in email rather than taking up a bunch of time.
Well, this is...
It's based upon how much time you have.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you send it to me? And then we'll pass it on. But if it's going to be complex, this is the last call, the last question of the evening, because we're really getting on with time. So, all right. Thank you, Gary.
We're an hour and 45 minutes into this. 2 hours. 45 minutes into it.
Okay. So you guys be sure to join our mailing list at youhavetheright.com, and be sure to join youhavetheright.com if you can. It helps us out a lot to produce these calls, and we provide a lot of really good information for you. So, Chris, thank you very much, and everybody else, thank you for joining.
Yeah, and if you guys are unsure about it, get in there and look around a little bit.
There's a free preview.
Website. Yeah, look around in the website and see what it has to offer. Then y'all are intelligent enough to decide whether you think it's beneficial or not. I like it. There's a lot of information in there that a lot of folks I know could use. So bounce around in there a little bit, check it out, see what's up, get you a taste. But y'all have a good night.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Chris.